Do you remember the iconic supermodels of the 90s strutting down runways in bold, glamorous designs with vibrant prints and luxurious fabrics? The genius behind those creations was none other than Gianni Versace. His name became synonymous with high fashion as the Versace brand transcended borders, dressing celebrities like Princess Diana, Madonna, Elton John, and Cher. Versace wasn't just a designer, he transformed the fashion world, popularizing the concept of the supermodel and showcasing icons like Naomi Campbell, Linda Evangelista, and Cindy Crawford. A true fashion icon, Versace's influence lasted until his tragic death on July 15, 1997, when he was murdered by serial killer Andrew Cunanan. Today, we are diving into the lives of these two men, Gianni Versace and his killer Andrew Cunanan. Both were intelligent and ambitious, but their lives took drastically different paths. One became a beloved, successful designer, while the other spiraled into a life of lies, manipulation, and violence. How did these two men, with seemingly similar beginnings, end up on such opposite paths? What role did their upbringing and personal choices play in shaping their futures? This story is a chilling reminder of the danger in raising children to believe success is a right and not something earned. Giovanni Maria Versace was born on December 2nd, 1946, in Reggio Calabria, Italy, into a working class family. His father, Giovanni, was a salesman, and his mother, Francesca, was a dressmaker. Gianni grew up alongside his older brother Santo, younger sister Donatella, and older sister Tina, who sadly passed away at the age of 12. From a young age, Gianni showed a love for fashion, often helping his mother with her dressmaking business. This early exposure shaped his skills and fueled his dream of becoming a fashion designer. He attended Liceo Classico Tommaso Campanella, studying Latin and Ancient Greek. The rich history of his hometown, influenced by Greek culture, deeply shaped his artistic vision. His designs often drew inspiration from classical Greece and the art movement of the 1920s and 30s, alongside influences from contemporary artists like Andy Warhol. At 26, Versace moved to Milan to pursue his dream. In 1973, Versace became the designer for Biblos, a youthful line for the brand Gianni, and by 1977, he launched Complice, a more experimental line. Encouraged by the success of both, he debuted his first signature collection for women in 1978 at the Palazzo della Permanente in Milan. The following year, he opened his first boutique on Milan's prestigious Via della Spiga. Versace quickly made a name for himself with bold, colorful designs that stood out against the minimalist fashion trends of the time. His work, known for its bright colors, daring cuts, and dramatic prints, blended classical elegance and sensuality. By 1982, Versace expanded into jewelry and home furnishings, further growing the brand's influence. In 1989, he launched Atelier Versace, his haute couture line. His marketing campaigns famously featured supermodels like Naomi Campbell, Christy Tarleton, and Linda Evangelista, helping turn them into household names. Versace was the first designer to feature such models in advertising, solidifying their status as fashion icons. By the time of his death, the Versace empire was worth 807 million, with 130 boutiques worldwide. Gianni also designed costumes for prestigious productions, including performances at Milan's La Scala Theatre Ballet and for global superstars like Michael Jackson and Elton John. Despite his massive success, Versace faced challenges. He was diagnosed with ear cancer in the early 1990s but made a full recovery. Known for his positivity and humility, Versace was deeply devoted to his family. His sister Donatella was his closest confidant, and though they clashed at times, they always supported each other through the pressures of running a fashion empire. In 1982, Gianni met model Antonio D'Amico, and the two were partners until Gianni's death in 1997. In the early 90s, Gianni moved to Miami, drawn by the city's vibrant energy, beautiful beaches, and warm climate. He purchased the famous Casa Casuarina mansion in Miami Beach, which became his sanctuary from the fast paced fashion world. He often hosted parties there, entertaining his celebrity friends. Gianni Versace was also known for his quiet generosity. He contributed to various causes, including AIDS research, charity fashion shows, hospitals, and individuals in need, though he preferred to keep these acts private. On July 15th, 1997, Gianni Versace's life was tragically cut short when he was shot and killed outside his Miami Beach mansion by serial killer Andrew Cunanan. Andrew Cunanan was born on August 31st, 1969, in National City, California, the youngest of four children. His father, Modesto, a Filipino American, was a U.S. Navy veteran and later a stockbroker. His mother, Marianne, was an Italian American homemaker. Though Andrew grew up in an affluent home thanks to his father's career, it was a dysfunctional environment. His father was a strict, emotionally distant figure, while his deeply religious mother had an intense, unhealthy attachment to Andrew. It's been reported that she would shower with him, a sign of their codependent relationship. Both parents idolized Andrew, though, favoring him over their other children. He was reportedly given the biggest room in the house, despite being the youngest. Andrew was intelligent, handsome, and charming, qualities his parents adored, but they raised him with such a sense of superiority and entitlement and neglected to teach him the grit and discipline needed to truly succeed. He attended Bonita Vista Middle School, then the Bishop's School in the wealthy La Jolla neighborhood of San Diego, where he met his lifelong friend Liz Coate. Andrew was popular and charismatic, often impressing people with his quick wit. By high school, however, things began to unravel. Andrew was coming to terms with his sexuality and also developed a bad habit of lying, fabricating stories about his family's wealth and lifestyle to fit in with the rich kids. He was voted most likely not to be forgotten by his classmates, a title that would prove disturbingly accurate. After graduating in 1987, Andrew enrolled at the University of California, San Diego to study American history. But in 1988, his father fled to the Philippines to escape embezzlement charges, leaving the family broke. This event shattered Andrew, who had built his entire identity around status and wealth. A violent argument with his mother followed, further damaging his fragile mental state. Andrew dropped out of college and moved to San Francisco's Castro district, a lively LGBT friendly neighborhood. There, he used his charm and looks to attach himself to wealthy older men, living off their generosity. He also fell into drug use and developed an interest in violent pornography. Around this time, it's believed Andrew crossed paths with Gianni Versace at a nightclub in San Francisco. Whether or not this meeting actually happened is still debated, but Andrew became fixated on Versace and the world he represented. As the years passed, Andrew's behavior became more unstable. He lost touch with his wealthy contacts, maxed out his credit cards, and spiraled deeper into drug use. By 1997, his life was in chaos. After a bitter breakup with his lover, David Madsen, and growing distant from his close friend Jeffrey Trail, Andrew's life started falling apart. He had no money, no plan, and his lies were finally catching up to him. His desperation and obsession with wealth and status eventually turned violent. Andrew's dangerous life of deceit finally reached its breaking point when he committed his first murder. On April 27, 1997, Andrew Cunanan committed his first known murder in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The victim was Jeffrey Trail, a Navy officer and Andrew's once close friend. It began as an argument between the two. Andrew lured Jeffrey to the apartment of their mutual friend and Andrew's ex boyfriend, David Madsen, pretending he needed to return a gun. Once Jeffrey arrived, Andrew brutally beat him to death with a hammer. His body was later found rolled up in a rug and hidden behind a sofa in David's apartment. Andrew's second victim was David Madsen, the same friend whose apartment he killed Jeffrey in. After murdering Jeffrey, Andrew held David hostage. Neighbors reported seeing them together over the next few days, which showed David was still alive but clearly being held against his will. On May 2nd, Andrew drove them north of Minneapolis, where they were seen eating at a restaurant. The next day, David's body was found on the east shore of Rush Lake near Rush City, Minnesota. He had been shot in the head and back. On May 3rd, Andrew traveled to Chicago, Illinois, where he killed Lee Miglin, a 72-year-old well-known real estate developer. Some suspected the two knew each other, but Miglin's family denied this. Miglin's death was brutal. Andrew tied his hands and feet, wrapped his head in duct tape, stabbed him more than 20 times with a screwdriver, and then slit his throat with a hacksaw. After the murder, Andrew stole Lee's car, which had a built-in phone that police later used to track his movement across different states. On May 9th, in Pennsville Township, New Jersey, Andrew killed William Reese, a 45-year-old cemetery caretaker. He shot Reese in the head with the same gun used in his previous murders. The two had no connection. Andrew killed him just to steal his pickup truck, which he then used to escape to Florida. By now, Andrew was on the FBI's radar. On June 12, 1997, he was officially added as the 449th fugitive on the FBI's most wanted list. Despite this, Andrew managed to stay hidden for weeks, continuing his crime spree. He arrived in Miami Beach, Florida in early May 1997. There, he checked into the Normandy Plaza Hotel and mostly stayed inside watching TV. Sometimes he would visit nearby gay clubs and bars. As he ran out of money, Andrew became more desperate. His close friend Liz Coate made a public plea on July 11, 1997, begging him to turn himself in just 5 days before his final, most shocking murder. In those final days, Andrew started stalking Gianni Versace, watching him come and go from Casa Casuarina, his Miami mansion. Witnesses later reported seeing Andrew hanging around the property. On July 15, 1997, Gianni Versace left his mansion for his usual morning walk. He went to a nearby cafe to buy magazines and an espresso. At 8:44 a.m., as Gianni was unlocking his front gate, Andrew walked up behind him. He pulled out a gun and shot Gianni in the back of the head. A second bullet struck him in the neck. Gianni collapsed onto the steps of his home. His partner, Antonio D'Amico, heard the shots and rushed outside, finding Gianni lying in a pool of blood. Bystanders nearby witnessed the horror, and one man even tried to chase Andrew, but he got away. Paramedics arrived quickly, but it was too late. At 9:29 a.m., Gianni Versace was pronounced dead. He was just 50 years old. News of Gianni Versace's murder spread across the world. Friends, fans, and celebrities were in shock.
I feel pain and anger for what's happened. It's a crime that's disgusting and uncalled for, and it should never happen to anybody ever. And I feel pain for Donatella and Santos, his whole family. No, we're never gonna see him again, and it's so unfair. It's not fair.
Meanwhile, Andrew hid on a houseboat in Miami, just a few miles from the crime scene. The manhunt intensified with SWAT teams, helicopters, and national news coverage following every lead. On July 23rd, 1997, 8 days after Gianni's murder, police finally found Andrew. He had taken his own life with the same gun he used to kill Gianni. Neighbors had reported hearing a gunshot from the houseboat, leading officers to discover his body. Why did Cunanan do this? To this day, no one knows for sure why Andrew Cunanan killed Gianni Versace, but the most likely reason was simple: envy. Cunanan was obsessed with wealth, fame, and power, and Versace was everything he wanted to be: rich, talented, admired, and successful. Another theory is that Cunanan craved notoriety. By the time he murdered Versace in July 1997, he was already a fugitive, having killed four other people. Some believe he wanted to go out with one final high profile crime that would guarantee his name in history. There were also rumors that Andrew and Gianni had crossed paths years earlier in the gay nightlife scenes of San Francisco or Miami. A few people claimed they'd seen them at the same parties or clubs, but no solid proof of any personal connection was ever found. In the end, Andrew Cunanan took his reasons to the grave, leaving the world with questions that may never be answered. Gianni Versace left behind a fashion empire and millions of fans. Though the brand was shaken, it survived. His sister Donatella Versace stepped in as the new creative director, and the Versace name continues to thrive today. Gianni's funeral was held on July 22nd, 1997, at the Duomo del Milano in Milan, Italy. The service was attended by famous celebrities, designers, and public figures like Princess Diana, Elton John, and Naomi Campbell. The world mourned together, and the event broadcast live around the globe. Andrew Cunanan's life paints a picture of a young man obsessed with wealth, attention, and validation without wanting to work hard for them. In some ways, he and Gianni shared a life of luxury and admiration, but while Gianni earned his success through talent, hard work, and vision, Andrew tried to cheat his way to the top with lies and manipulation. It was a meeting of two worlds that ended in the most tragic way. In the end, unlike Andrew Cunanan, Gianni Versace will be remembered as a visionary whose talent and spirit left an incredible mark on the world. May he rest in peace.